Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we will study cardiac muscles and the target will be functional anatomy, properties and action potential of cardiac muscle. My name is Talat Naz and I belong to Department of Physiology. The heart is a muscular organ that act like a pump to send blood throughout our body all the time throughout our whole life. The size of the heart is very small and everybody's heart is equal to the size of the fist, closed fist. So it is so small, but it is working continuously day and night. Heart is basically a hollow organ and it is located in the thorax between two lungs. Heart consists of four chambers and it has four valves. The out of four chambers, two are atrium and two are ventricles. So this is the right atrium and this is the left atrium. But everything is the hollow, means something can pass through this. So these are the atrium and these are the right ventricle and the left ventricle. So in this way it has four chambers, two atrium and two ventricle. And then it has four valves. One is located between right atrium and right ventricle, and this is a tricuspid valve, means the valve which is located between right atrium and right ventricle is the tricuspid valve. And you must know the function of the valve is to prevent the backflow of blood in any direction. For example, if we talk about the tricuspid valve, it will prevent the backflow of blood from the right ventricle to the right atrium. And then the other valve is pulmonary valve. So when the heart pumps the blood from the right ventricle into the pulmonary artery, it is prevented from the backflow with the help of pulmonary valve. Similarly, the third valve is located between left atrium and left ventricle and it is known as mitral valve. Mitral valve is basically preventing the backflow of blood from the left ventricle to the left atrium. And the fourth valve is the aortic valve. When the blood is pumped from the left ventricle into the aorta, it is prevented from the backflow with the help of aortic valve. Right side receives the blood from the body and send it to the lungs, and this is called pulmonary circulation. So this is the right side that receives the blood from the whole body, and this is basically the deoxygenated blood which has to be cleaned, and the left side receives the blood from the lungs and send it to the body, and this is the systematic circulation where the blood is oxygenated because it is purified in the lungs and carry huge amount of oxygen. So this oxygenated blood is pumped through the heart to the entire body from the left side of the heart. So remember, the right side of the heart receive the blood which is deoxygenated, and the left side of the heart circulate or pump the blood to the entire body which is oxygenated blood or the pure blood. Now have a look on the structure of the cardiac muscles or the myocytes. Basically, this is the striated muscles like skeletal muscles, and the other parts are similar like actin protein, myosin proteins, and the sarcolemma and the T tubules all are similar, but there is some special characteristics in the structure of the cardiac muscle is the presence of desmosomes. Desmosomes are basically making intercalated disc, means these are two cells and they are separated. So to make a connection between these two cells, we have a protein desmosome and the part where it is and this is made up of the protein connexin. Desmosomes are made up of the protein connexin and make the connection between two cells, and the space between the two cells is called intercalated disc. So the other part which is present in on the way to the intercalated disc is the gap junction channel, or it is also known as tight junction. Basically, these are the proteins that serve as a channel protein and allow the movement of the ions so that action potential can be travel from one cell to the another cell, and the speed of conduction will be very high. So the electrical current can be transmitted from one cell to another cell. As a result, all the cells of the heart contract simultaneously. For example, if the muscles of the atrium need to be contract, so all the muscles of the atrium will contract simultaneously, so that whole of the blood present in the atrium will move into the ventricle. And similar is the case for the ventricles. There are four important properties that we usually discuss uh, as a property of cardiac muscle or the myocardium. First one is the conductivity, another one is automaticity and rhythmicity, and then excitability, and the fourth one is the contractility. Conductivity, the ability of the cardiac muscles to conduct action potential or cardiac impulses is called conductivity. Means the conduction of the electrical impulses or the voltage or the cardiac impulses is conductivity. And this conduction, which is carried through the muscles of the heart, has some velocity, has some speed. And this velocity of conduction is different in different parts of the heart. Conduction velocity in the atrial muscle is 0.3 meter per second. In the internodal pathway, its velocity is 1 meter per second. In AV node, its velocity is 0.1 meter per second. It is very slow. In Purkinje system, its velocity is 1.5 to 4 meter per second. It depends on the function of that area, how much fast conduction is required in that area. Automaticity and rhythmicity is the another property of cardiac muscle. The spontaneous generation of action potential in the heart without external stimulation is called automaticity or self-generation. And you know, the heart do not need any stimulation from the nerve cells or the brain to start its function. It is continuously generating in the pacemaker cells and automatically generating action potentials. It occurs at regular intervals, so it is called rhythmicity. The first one is the automaticity, means automatically it generates the action potential, and then second one is the rhythmicity, means it occurs, action potential generate in a regular interval. Automaticity in the heart is myogenic and not neurogenic. SA notes 70 to 80 impulses per minute. This is the you can say rate of action potential generation, or how many times it stimulate and produce action potential. So it is 70 to 80 times it stimulate and produce action potential. The AV node has somehow lower level of conduction, which is 40 to 60 per minute, and AV bundle, Purkinje system and ventricles, their conduction generation frequency is 15 to 40 meter per second, means they produce the action potential 15 to 40 times in 1 minute. SA node having the highest rate of impulse formation, that is why it is called the pacemaker. What is pacemaker? Pacemaker is sinoatrial node, which is a special type of muscles present in the heart, and they are known as pacemaker because they have the highest rate of impulse formation, and because of the SA nodal activity, the heart is continuously producing the action potentials at certain interval. Excitability and contractibility. Excitability is the property to respond to the stimulus. What does it mean? We have already discussed that cardiac muscle do not require any external stimulation. But what does it mean here? The property that cardiac muscle has the property that if in case another stimulus is provided, then it will respond. For example, heart muscles are supplied with the autonomic nerve fibers, and whenever needed, they give the stimulus and the muscle will respond to it. In the normal condition, normally there is a balance between autorhythmicity and the autonomicity. Means autonomic nervous system has some control over the heart. So this muscle has the excitability like all the other type of muscles, that they will respond to the stimulus whenever there is some stimulus. This stimulus can be electrical, this stimulus can be mechanical or chemical stimuli, or the effect of the drugs or the chemicals or poison or any other thing that has effect on the excitability or the contractility of the cardiac muscle. Now the contractility. Once the muscle get excited, they respond to the stimuli. Of course, the second stage is the contraction. So the property to undergo shortening is called contractility. The tension developed during cardiac muscle contraction is less than that developed in the skeletal muscle contraction. Means when the cardiac muscle contract, they produce large amount of energy, and the length, the shortening and the length of the skeletal muscle is more as compared to the cardiac muscle. As you know, the cardiac muscle are very small in size, and they do not need too much contraction. So and the shortening is slow in the cardiac muscle as compared to the skeletal muscle, because they do not contract for the longer period of time. They contract for the smaller period of time, and then they relax, and then they again produce another action potential, and then again contract and then relax. So in this way, the shortening period is slow and less as compared to skeletal muscle. Cardiac action potential. I have already discussed in detail about the nerve action potential, and I always recommend the students first go through the nerve action potential, so that when you come to the lecture of the cardiac action potential, it will be easy for you. So it will be available in my lecture session, so that you can learn the nerve action potential from there. But here again I will repeat according to the need of the lecture. Otherwise, the length of the lecture will be very large. Cardiac action potential is a momentary change in the electrical potential on the surface of the muscle cell. Means there are some changes in the electrical potential for a very little time period, and that occur when it is stimulated, resulting in the transmission of an electrical impulse. So the stimulus is basically generated from the pacemaker in the heart. As we already know that there is no need of the external stimulation for the cardiac muscles to contract. So the SA nodal action potential or the pacemaker potential is self-generated. First of all, the SA node will generate it automatically. So there are different types of membrane potential: SA nodal action potential, ventricular muscle action potential, atrial muscle action potential, and Purkinje system action potential. So SA nodal action potential is basically responsible and lead to the atrial muscle contraction. So the SA node, when stimulated, it will stimulate the atrial muscle so that they undergo the action potential, and after the action potential is spread through the atrial muscle, of course they will undergo the contraction phase, that is atrium will be contracted after they get stimulated. And then we have Purkinje system action potential. Of course, Purkinje system is from the atria to the ventricle, so that the action potential will travel from the atria towards the ventricle and then from the ventricles to the entire heart, so that whenever there is a need of the contraction, the whole part will be contracted simultaneously. Means the atria will contract simultaneously and then ventricle will contract simultaneously from the both sides. And then we have very special ventricular muscle action potential, which is basically quite different as compared to SA nodal action potential, atrial muscle, AV node, as well as skeletal muscle and the smooth muscles. So ventricular action potential is quite different in the cardiac muscle that we will study in detail, because the main focus of the authors in the book is the ventricular action potentials. But you remember what are the different types of cardiac action potential? SA nodal, ventricular muscle, atrial muscle and the Purkinje system. Ventricular muscle action potential. So it has basically 5 phases: phase 0, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 and phase 4. Phase 0 representing you the upstroke, means the line moving above from the 0 towards the upper side. And then we have initial repolarization phase, that is the graph will show that a line is moving downward. Initial repolarization phase is very small, so you will not see a huge line which is moving downward or downward deflection. And then all of a sudden there will be a plateau phase, and then we have proper repolarization and proper resting membrane potential. So we will discuss each and everything in detail. Phase 0 or upstroke. It is the upstroke or upward deflection of the wave of action potential. In this phase, there is opening of voltage gated sodium channel at the rate voltage gated sodium channels minus 70 to minus 80 millivolt. So basically, before the opening of voltage gated sodium channels, there is some leakage or entry of the sodium channels, so that the membrane potential will move from minus 60 towards minus 70. Initially, the resting membrane potential is at minus 60, almost 60 to 65. And this value when moved towards minus 70 millivolt, there is opening of voltage gated sodium channels. As a result, there is transient increase in the sodium conductance, means the channel will be open so that sodium will enter into the large amount into the cell. So there is a transient increase in the sodium conductance, leading to rapid influx of sodium ion, causing the membrane depolarization. As we know, initially the resting membrane potential is a polarized state, and due to the entry of the positivity inside the cell, this polarity will be decreased and it will move towards depolarization, means polarity will be decreased and they become depolarized due to the entry of huge amount of sodium inside the cell. And this will happen when there is minus 70 millivolt. And when this upward deflection or upstroke move towards the peak, means maximum sodium channels have been opened, then what will happen? The membrane potential approaches the sodium equilibrium potential, means now there is no need to allow more sodium to enter into the cell, and there will be force generated which is known as ionic concentration gradient, that not allow the sodium to enter into the cell. So there will be sodium equilibrium potential, at which there is no more entry of the sodium inside the cell. So this is the upstroke phase when there is a depolarization in the cardiac muscle, particularly the ventricular muscle. Now come to the initial repolarization, which is known as phase 1. Basically, this is not the proper repolarization, but it is a brief period of initial repolarization, means there is downward deflection in the we can observe in the graph. During this phase, there is closure of the voltage gated sodium channels, because in the previous phase 0 we have already seen that maximum value has been reached but the sodium channels are open. Now there is a time that voltage gated sodium channels should be closed. So during the phase 1, closure of the voltage gated sodium channels lead to the decreased sodium influx. Of course, when the sodium channels are closed, the sodium will not enter into the cell. And then there is opening of potassium channels leading to potassium efflux. What will happen in the same time when the sodium channels are closed, there is a sudden opening of potassium channels, and due to the opening of the potassium channels leading to potassium influx, that is, there is high concentration of potassium inside the cell. So what the potassium want to move from inside to outside. So during the phase 1, remember there are two things happen. First one, the voltage gated sodium channels will be closed, and the voltage there is some channels, potassium channels, which are not basically the main voltage gated channels. There is some opening or leakage, you can say, of the potassium, and potassium will move from inside to outside. As a result, what will happen, the positivity will be decreased. In this phase 0, positivity was increasing. In the phase 1, there is a little bit decrease in the positivity because of the movement of the positive potassium ions from inside to outside. So this is what happened in the phase 1. Now come to the phase 2, which is also known as plateau phase. In the plateau phase, what happened, there is slow opening of voltage gated calcium channels. Now you must remember what is happening with the sodium, different types of channels. In the phase 2, the important thing is the voltage gated calcium channels, which are slow channels, and usually they open when the positivity will reach up to minus 30 to 40 millivolt. Means initially the value was more, which is now become minus 30. At this stage, there is opening of the voltage gated calcium channel. There is excessive calcium influx take place. This calcium influx, because calcium is moving from outside to inside. So this calcium influx is balanced by the potassium efflux, leading to the production of plateau, that is delay in the repolarization. Plateau phase is basically have two main things happening. First one is the slow voltage gated calcium channels will open and calcium will move from outside to inside the cell. As well as the same time, simultaneously, what will happen, potassium will keep moving outside the cell. As a result, what happens, there is a straight line, that is the balance of the movement of positivity from inside to outside and from outside to inside. During the plateau phase, outward and inward currents are nearly equal. Means the amount of positivity moving outside is nearly equal to the amount of positivity moving inside the cell, so that the membrane potential is stable in this phase, and we found that there is a straight line on the graph. Plateau phase is not part of repolarization, it is sustained depolarization. Means this is not showing that there is a downward deflection in the graph. If there is downward deflection in the graph, it is representing repolarization. But in the plateau phase, there is a straight line which is showing you there is a sustained depolarization. Neither depolarization nor neither repolarization. There is something like balance. Now come to the phase 3, which is repolarization. One more thing, that plateau phase is not observed in the skeletal muscles and in most of the smooth muscles. This is the main property of the cardiac muscle. So because skeletal muscles are fast muscles, they contract, relax, contract, relax, contract, relax. Similarly, not exact plateau is observed in the smooth muscle, although the smooth muscles are also very slow in contraction, but still the plateau phase is not observed over there. And then there is a phase 3, which is the repolarization. During this phase, the calcium conductance decreases, means that the movement of the calcium that was occurring from the outside to inside will be decreased due to the closure of the slow calcium channels. Due to the these are the slow calcium channels and they will close, so as a result there will be no entry of the calcium. So there is increase in the potassium conductance, because during the repolarization in all types of action potential, in the skeletal muscle, in the smooth muscles, in the cardiac muscle, in the nerve membrane, all types of excitable tissues, during repolarization phase there is increase in the potassium conductance that will lead to excessive efflux of potassium, that is movement of potassium from inside to outside, and this is the only dominant current during this phase. Means if we are talking about the repolarization, we are talking about the potassium conductance, and this result in the repolarization till the potassium equilibrium potential is reached. Similarly to the phase 0, when in the phase 0 there is excessive entry of the sodium ions and the time will reach, then there will be equilibrium potential for the sodium ions. Similarly in the phase 3 there is the continuous movement of potassium ions from inside to outside, and the time will reach when potassium equilibrium potential will be reached, and it will stop the movement of potassium from inside to outside during repolarization. So always remember, depolarization with sodium and repolarization with potassium, and plateau phase is basically because of the calcium entry. And then we have another phase of phase 4. After repolarization, there is a phase of resting membrane potential, that is neither depolarization nor repolarization. During this phase, the membrane is in the resting state. Resting membrane potential is minus 85 to minus 90 millivolt. Basically, we have to start our topic with resting membrane potential always in the action potential, but because I have to teach the phases of the action potential, so I have to follow the book. So initially there is a resting membrane potential which is minus 85 to minus 90 millivolt, and then what happened when there is a stimulus from these pacemaker cells, this will cause some leakage of the sodium ions. As a result, the membrane potential will move from minus 85 towards minus 60 millivolt. Okay, at minus 60 millivolt, there is a opening of voltage gated sodium channels. As a result, the membrane value will move from minus 60 millivolts towards minus 30 millivolt, and then to 0 millivolt, and then it will shoot towards the positivity. After the depolarization, there is initial repolarization phase where, because the potassium is moving outside, the membrane potential will again drop down to minus 30 millivolt. As minus 30 millivolt, there is opening of the slow calcium channels, so that there will be a balance of inside and outward movement of the current, and then finally there will be a repolarization phase, which then lead to the resting membrane potential, when the resting membrane potential reaches minus 85 millivolt because of the excessive movement of the potassium from inside to outside. Another factor that is very important for the resting membrane potential is the activation of sodium potassium ATPase pump. Sodium potassium ATPase pump is the crucial player for the resting membrane potential, because the excessive amount of sodium that has already been entered into the cell has to move from inside to outside. So the sodium potassium pump will move 3 sodium ions from inside to outside and 2 potassium ions from outside to inside the cell. So in this way it will cause the balance of more sodium will move outside the cell and quite 2 potassium ions will move inside the cell. Here this is the action potential in two types of cells, cardiac cells and the skeletal muscle cells. Uh, this is the ventricular muscle membrane and this is the skeletal muscle membrane. In the cardiac muscle, you can see there is a depolarization, rapid depolarization, then is initial repolarization phase. Sorry, I did some mistake at this level, that after it reaches to the plus 20 and initial repolarization phase is at this point I think plus 10 millivolt, and then there will be, this is the continuous movement of potassium outside and continuous movement of calcium inside the cell in the plateau phase, and then at the zero it starts the repolarization, that is movement of potassium from inside to outside. In the case of friction potential in the skeletal muscle, we observe the resting membrane potential is minus 70 millivolt, and there will be overshoot potential that is about I don't remember the exact value of the skeletal muscle, but there is a depolarization phase and overshoot potential at plus 30 millivolt, where the sodium channels will close and there is a phase of repolarization, and again the membrane will come down towards the resting membrane potential. And finally, we are moving towards our closing of the topic. The channels involved in the cardiac action potential that we have already discussed are the fast sodium channels. Similar to the skeletal muscle fibers, remain open for few thousandths of a second. These are basically the voltage gated sodium channels, and they cause depolarization in the cardiac muscles. The other important type of the channels are the slow calcium channels, slower to the open and remain open for several tenths of a second, and responsible for the plateau phase of the action potential. So these are the slow calcium channels that causes the plateau in the action potential of the cardiac muscle. And finally, we have another type is the potassium channels. They allow the movement of potassium ions out of the cell and responsible for the repolarization phase. Normal resting membrane potential of the cardiac muscle is minus 85 millivolt. So you have to memorize this value. The value of resting membrane potential in the cardiac muscle is minus 85 millivolt, and after the pacemaker potential, this will move towards the minus 40, and then during zero phase, and then it will move towards the plus 20, and then there is plus 10 where there is initial repolarization, and then it will come down. The question arises why there is prolonged action potential or plateau in the cardiac muscle. Of course, there must be some significance, there must be some function, there must be some value. Why there is plateau in the cardiac muscle? Why plateau is not present in the skeletal muscle? So, you must know why. The calcium channels open slowly during phase 0 and 1. We know in the case of the skeletal muscle, we don't have the slow calcium channels. However, in the case of cardiac muscle, the action potential of the plateau is observed because the calcium channels open slowly during the phase 0 and 1. Secondly, the calcium influx decreases the potassium permeability about 5 times. Means during this time period when there is a plateau, because of the entry of the calcium, so what the calcium will do? Calcium will decrease the potassium permeability 5-fold, means it will not allow so fast movement of the potassium out of the cell. So the outflux of potassium ion is greatly reduced during the plateau phase. So this is the basic molecular reason, but on the broad term, the plateau has its own significance because the heart is continuously working and it needs some time so that it has a proper filling in the ventricles. If the heart will contract like a skeletal muscle, contract relax, and it has no time for the proper filling of the ventricles, then the blood will come and it will not have time to be filled up the ventricles, and then ventricle will pump the blood to the entire body. So first of all, what the heart do, heart collect the blood into the ventricles and then it will pump. So for that reason it has to wait some time, and this wait is basically during the plateau phase when there is a filling of the ventricles, and then ventricle will contract and pump the blood to the entire body. This is the reason behind the plateau, and the cause of the plateau is basically the calcium, slow calcium. There are two important terminology that are important for whenever we study the cardiac muscle. We have something about absolute and relative refractory period. Refractory period in the cardiac muscle cells is a period immediately following the stimulation during which a nerve or the muscle is unresponsive to the further stimulation. Basically, when you stimulate the nerve or the muscle cell or any excitable cell, the action potential will be generated. If you see this picture, this is the A is showing you the action potential and B is showing you the contraction in the muscle cell. So always remember, this is the electrical activity and this is the mechanical activity. First of all, there is electrical activity, then there is mechanical activity. In the electrical activity, during the action potential, what happened? During the action potential, when the message reaches to the skeletal muscle, there is opening of the channels in the skeletal muscle, as well as there is opening in the action potential. Okay, we are not talking about the muscle because our focus is the cardiac action potential, that is the electrical activity. So we will focus only on the action potential. There is opening of the sodium channels, whole way. There is a huge quantity of sodium channels which are open, and when the channels are open, your second stimulus will not work. Basically, refractory period in the cardiac muscle cell. It's a period immediately following the stimulation during which a nerve or the muscle is unresponsive to further stimulation. Means during the action potential, once the stimulus is provided to the muscle, sodium channels will be open and the another stimulation will not give any response. Means if you are willing to produce giving more than 2 stimulus continuously, it will not respond by the muscle because there is a refractory period during which muscle or the nerve cell will not respond to the another action potential. So basically we have two types of refractory period: absolute refractory period and relative refractory period. Absolute refractory period duration is 0.5 to 0.3 seconds, and cardiac cell cannot be stimulated no matter how strong the stimulus is provided. The other type is relative refractory period and its duration is 0.05 second. Muscle can be stimulated by a very strong stimulus. So these are the basically two types of the refractory period: absolute refractory period and relative refractory period. Usually whenever we stimulate the muscle one time, we have to wait some time so that it will become again depolarized. It will become again polarized, so that when we give the stimulus, it will undergo depolarization. So this is the reason why refractory period is not giving any response to the second stimulus because it is already there is depolarization phase and there is already sodium channels are open. So we have to wait some time so that sodium channels will be closed and membrane become polarized, and then it will give response to the another stimulation. Significance of prolonged refractory period. Cardiac cells have got a prolonged refractory period. This prevents the cardiac muscle to get tetanized. Means if we continuously stimulate the cardiac muscles, they become tetanized. There will be no relaxation phase. So this is the significance of refractory period. Duration of action potential depends upon the plateau phase of the action potential in the cardiac muscle. In the case of atrial muscle, the duration of action potential is 0.2 seconds. And the case of ventricular muscle, the duration of action potential is 0.3 seconds. And we have already discussed the role of gap junction. Gap junction is responsible for rapid conduction of impulse across the cardiac muscle fiber, and this will give you the idea of syncytium. Cardiac muscle are basically the working as a syncytium, that is, they respond to the stimulus simultaneously, they contract simultaneously, and this is because of the presence of the gap junction, which allow the fast conduction of action potential. Now when the calcium is entered into the cardiac muscle, it has to be removed. So how the reuptake of calcium from the inside to outside of the cell will take place? At the end of action potential, calcium ions are pumped back out of the cell into both sarcoplasmic reticulum and extracellular fluid. Calcium is transported back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum by calcium ATPase pump. Calcium is transported out of the cell by sodium calcium exchanger. Now you see, this is sodium potassium pump. This is sodium potassium pump. That is, potassium is moving inside because it was moved outside during action potential, and sodium is moving from inside to outside because during action potential huge quantity of sodium is entered into the cell and it has to be removed. So sodium potassium pump is working continuously. Now when the sodium is moving, when sodium was moving from outside to inside, there is a movement of calcium from inside to outside, and then this is called sodium calcium exchanger. And finally there is calcium ATPase that will move the calcium from inside to outside after the expenditure of energy, because ATPase always use the ATPs. So in this way the calcium is moving. Calcium transport back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum by calcium ATPase pump. This pump, and calcium is transported out of the cell by sodium calcium exchanger. When the sodium is moving inside, calcium is moving outside. These are the two methods by which calcium will move from inside to outside of the cardiac muscle cell. With this, I am thankful to you that you have given time to listening my lecture. Thank you so much.